Hi there, and welcome back to the Entrepreneur Mindset Podcast. One of the things that I've noticed over the past year is that there are a lot of entrepreneurs out there working to create and launch a course, but they're getting stuck along the way. Whether it's because the course topic doesn't leave them feeling passionate, the tech gets in the way, building an actual course feels big and unruly, or there just doesn't seem to be a realistic way to build your course and bring in revenue. People are getting stuck. That is why I put this brand new podcast series together for you. I am sharing with you all of my experience as an entrepreneur and college psychology professor who has spent the past 15 plus years creating courses and workshops every single day of the week. Not only do I create my own courses, I walk alongside other course creators to provide feedback, support, and direction on best learning practices, student engagement, how to navigate technology and accountability so that your course gets done and launched. I am going to be documenting the process that I use with my clients who are paying $500, $1,000, $2,000 a month for one-on-one help with their courses so that you can take these ideas that I'm sharing here in this podcast series and apply them to your own business. And of course, at any point, if you decide you'd like a little bit of extra help, I'd love to sit down and learn more about what you're building and see if we'd be a good fit, see if I can help you. Now, let's dive in because today I want to cover our very first concept, and that is the concept of values and vision and why. One of the things that I ask each client to do is to revisit or create their vision for their business. Now, why do I ask my clients to create a vision? Well, let me give you a little insight as to why I do this in particular. When I was in college, back before the days of navigation on your phone or in your car, I had a road map on the seat next to me, and I lived about 9 hours away from home, or I went to college about 9 hours away from home, rather. And I would have my atlas on the seat next to me, as well as my printed instructions from MapQuest. Do you remember that? Do you remember when you used to put in the address on a computer? You would get this list of instructions that you would then have to somehow read while you were driving and hope that you knew exactly where you were going. Well, I was a map kind of girl. I loved knowing exactly where I was going. I knew what stops I was going to take along the way so that I could have everything planned out. That atlas was my friend. I knew that I was on the right path. I knew where I was headed, and that kind of that concept carried over into my adult life. I love to know where I'm headed, and I know that some of you are probably the same way. So we start with values because they create a roadmap and foundation for your business. I will go ahead and say that some of you might feel a little frustrated by this activity because it doesn't feel like you're doing much of anything. But I promise you, throughout this series, we are going to get into the nitty-gritty details, like who are you going to serve and how will you work with your clients? We'll talk about the design of your business so that your business serves you, so that it's adding something to your life instead of detracting from your life. But a lot of times we can get really easily sucked into the external world and what the external world expects of us. So this process that we're starting today together will encourage you to look inward and to truly build a mindful vision that's going to work for you so that you are creating your own unique business with your vision in mind. And values are, as you kind of can imagine, core to just about everything we do. But in a business, they become the driving factor for a lot of things, including how you move forward, what you want to accomplish, and pretty much every single question that you will find yourself answering on a day-to-day basis and throughout all of your planning, your quarterly planning, your annual planning, your 5 and 10-year planning. This is why we start with values as a core component of everything that you're going to do. If you are listening to this episode and you are a coach, you've probably at some point done some kind of values card sort activity. If the concept is new to you, don't worry, we're going to dig into it. But I just wanted to draw attention to the fact that some of you may have already done something similar, and I want you to keep an open mind, because even if you've thought about your values in the past, we want to keep revisiting them. And so we are going to take this process in 2 stages. And the first step, or the first stage, is to identify your top 5 personal values in life. These are the ones that you hold true for you, regardless of anything else. So there are lots of activities out there. They're called values card sorts. There are lots of activity on Google that you can just go out and find a values card sort and do. But if you were to do this values card sort where you're taken through a process of 100, maybe 150 values, you get to choose which ones are your most important ones. I want you to choose your top 5 values right now. And I say right now because over time, as we grow and mature and change, our values can actually shift a little bit. So if you have never done a values card sort before, or it's been a while since you've explored your values, this is a great time to step back and actually think about what those values are right now. And I say right now, like I said, because this is a thing that actually grows and matures over time. And you can find a shift in your values when you've had a major life event, or in the case of the past several years, a global pandemic, you might find that your values have shifted a little bit. So when you answer the question that I posed to you just a moment or two ago, what are your top 5 personal values in life? I want you to be working with the most current data. I don't want you to just rely on some values activity you did 15 years ago or 5 years ago or even 5 months ago. I want you to do it again. Take some time to explore your top 5 personal values in life. When you have those in mind, do not rely on your memory to keep them straight. I want you to write them down. Find your favorite sticky note, find your journal, put it down somewhere. I want you to write those 5 values out, okay? And then set them aside. Because here's what I want you to do next. I want you to shift your mindset, and I want you to enter your business mindset, your entrepreneurial mindset. And so this next step is going to be to identify your top 5 values that you want to have in your business. These are the top 5 values you want your business to embody, and they may be different from your personal values. So when you think about the top 5 values that you want your business to have, it might be something like integrity, or authenticity, or honesty, or service, or none of those. It could be 5 other ones. What are your top 5 values that you want your business to have? Recognizing that, your business might be brand new and you haven't really thought about this yet. That's okay. Like I said, for personal values, your business values can shift over time as well. Get a baseline for right now. And if you're an established business owner, maybe your business is going wonderfully and now you're thinking about growing even further. That's awesome. What are the top 5 values that you want your business right now to embody and move into in the future? Because you want to know what those values are in order to drive the change you want for your business. This is such a beautiful opportunity because it reminds us that where we start today is not necessarily where we end up. You have this opportunity to shift and make changes along the way so that your business values today might look a little different in 5 years, maybe even in 6 months. depending on the direction your business takes. So take some time here, because there is a pull or kind of an urge, especially when you think about your business values, to slip into this mindset of, what do others expect my business to value? Because I'm going to write those down. You might be thinking, well, what's the best bang for my buck in terms of sharing my business values? What do I want the external world to see? And while it's important to understand what's important to your potential clients, your business will not be sustainable if the values that you write down are not true to you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. You cannot just choose what you think society wants. I'm asking, what do you want for your business? What does that look like? What are the values that at the end of the day, when you put your head on your pillow, you start to drift off to sleep, you think, oh, I love the values that my business embodies. I love what my business is doing to support these values. That's where we want to be. We want to make sure that you're identifying these top 5 values that you want your business to embody, that it's truly your desires, not a desire from someone else. That's easy. You could find a whole list of values that companies today need to embody. It's easy to look at the hot topics and decide that you need to incorporate that value into your business. And the answer might be yes, that is important. But what if it's not the right value for your business to embody right now? Maybe it's for the future. Maybe it has been embodied in the past, but right now you're looking for a little bit of growth and a little bit of change, and you want a different set of values right now. This is a living, breathing process. And the idea right now is, what top 5 values do you want your business to embody today, tomorrow, next week? I want you to think about right now. Once you have your top 5 personal values and your top 5 business values, I want you to take time. I want you to set them next to each other. Presumably, I know I did not actually tell you to write down your top 5 business values like I did your personal, but I want you to do that. Set them next to each other. Take a little bit of time, step back. And I want you to view the personal values that you wrote down and the business values that you wrote down. You may have 5 personal values, 5 business values, and there's absolutely no overlap. It might be that you have a little bit of overlap. No matter what, it's okay. It's not unusual to have 5 personal values and 5 business values and there's no overlap. But I do want you to look at how they integrate with one another. How do they support one another? How do your personal values and your business values support each other? How do they integrate? Because when we find that integration, we're going to be stronger, especially if you are a solopreneur. If you are operating with personal values and business values that do not align, you are going to have an internal struggle every single day of your business, and it will be hard. We will be stronger personally and as business owners serving other people if we find that alignment among our values. If you are constantly at odds with your personal and your business values, it just doesn't line up. You're not going to want to go to work every day. You won't want to have that call with your client or network to build your business. You aren't going to want to do that if your personal and business values are at odds with one another. This is why we explore values before tackling course objectives, marketing, messaging, networking, audience growth. Your personal and business values need to be aligned. They don't have to be the same, but they need to be harmonious. We have probably all heard, remember when you were a kid, actually, and let me back up. You remember when you were a kid and you sat down at a piano and you played two white keys right next to each other and you banged on them? And you did it in a specific rhythm, and it was called chopsticks. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Maybe you didn't do it, but you heard some other child do this. That song Chopsticks on the piano, where you're using the two white keys right next to each other. They're going to be discordant, right? They are not harmonious when you do that. We don't want that crunchy sound happening in our business. We want it to feel in tune. We want it to feel in flow. Choose whatever words work here for you that makes sense for you. We want those decisions that you have to make to be easier, to feel like they're less heavy, that you're less likely to fret over them. We want that alignment. Now that you've been giving some thought to your values, I want you to take it a little bit further. How do your values impact the why behind your business? How do they support, impact, shift? I want you to kind of explore this for a moment. If you've read Simon Sinek's Start With Why book, you're going to be familiar with the concept of getting clear on what is driving you to pursue your business. One of the common activities to get to the why of something that you're doing is to pretend like you're peeling an onion. You start with why you're doing something, you peel a layer off of the onion, you go a little bit deeper and deeper and deeper. Another thing that you might have heard this called is go 7 layers deep. Ask, why am I starting or continuing my business? Then ask why of that answer. It's kind of like a toddler saying, why? And so you do this every time you answer the why. You ask why of that answer. You do it until you've done it at least 7 times. What you will find is that your why has some very just rich foundational components to it. And they often align with your values that you just stated, both your personal and your professional values. So why do we go after our why? There are going to be times when being an entrepreneur makes you want to run into a forest and scream at the top of your lungs. Bake 5 dozen cookies. Simply curl up with your favorite streaming series and sink in. In other words, there are going to be times when it's really hard. If you can remind yourself of your why, which is also going to be deeply rooted and connected in your values, it is so much easier to wade through the tough stuff that comes up. With your why and your values in place, you are going to be able to create an offer that leaves you excited to wake up each morning and serve your clients. And guess who notices that? Your clients, your potential clients, your audience, and everyone with whom you interact. They will notice that you are more joyful, fulfilled, excited, grounded, happy. Isn't that what you want? So this week, I want you to spend time exploring your values. Yes, all of this goes deeper, but in a podcast episode, I'm a little bit limited in time. So hopefully you're going to take this as a foundational tool and build your vision using the why and values that we've just uncovered. So this week, I want you to start by exploring your values, both personal and professional, as well as your why. And like I said, I'm going to link a few values card sort activities that will walk you through putting words to the values that you hold close to you. Sometimes, I've done this with hundreds of clients and students over the years. Sometimes this is a really surprising activity. Sometimes it brings tears. So make sure you grab some tissues. Sometimes it brings about aha moments. And sometimes it just brings about a feeling of coming home to who you are. So I want you to sit in this a little bit this week for me, both the personal values and the professional. So remember, you're doing 2 sets of these. And you might, there's this little voice inside your head that whenever you hear an activity like this, you think, I'll be okay without it. You might be thinking, I know what I value. I'll just skip this one. I've got so many things on my to-do list. You can't skip this. This is one of those things that if you skip it now, you're going to have less clarity later as you dig into who you serve, the offer you create, and even the longevity of your business. The alignment that comes from having these values at the core of what you do is critical to your sustained success as an entrepreneur. So tackle these values and get really clear on them. And then second, I want you to take some time with a piece of paper and write at the top, why am I an entrepreneur? Or some variation of that same question. Then ask yourself why of the answer that comes up for you. Do this until you have asked why at least 7 times. If you find that it is really easy to come up with the answers and you've never done this activity before, you have not dug deep enough yet. Let me say that again. If when you're asking why, the answers are just really easily coming to you, you're floating through this activity, you're thinking easy, breezy, lemon squeezy, then you haven't dug deep enough yet. You should go at least 2 layers below the easy answers. It should be hard. You should be sitting looking at that paper going, oh, I don't know. And when you get there, I want you to sit in the silence. I want you to go for a walk. I want you to stand in the warm shower, take a bath, sit down with a mug of your favorite tea and let the question sink in. Let all of that thought that just tries to control everything, let it quiet down and notice what answers come to you. It might take a little bit of practice to do this, but going through this kind of why exercise routinely, like once a quarter, at least twice a year, at the bare minimum once a year, you're going to learn so much more about yourself and your business. As you finish with both of these activities, I want you to notice how they support one another. Notice how it feels to think about your business with your values and your why front and center, because that's what's going to lead us to the other pieces of your business. Too often, we feel compelled to skip the pieces that feel like fluff when building a business. I mean, no one sees that vision spelled out or your values unless you put them on your about page on your website. It feels kind of trivial because it doesn't feel like it's a money-making activity, especially if you're getting started and you don't have steady revenue. But imagine for a minute that you didn't have these guiding principles and you started creating offers based on what people want. You have just relinquished control and creative direction of your business to the masses. People who don't know you and don't have your sustainability at heart. I can almost guarantee that you did not get into entrepreneurship to allow others to tell you what to do with your business. If you don't uncover your why, your values, and set a path for where you want your business to go, you are handing over the reins to someone else. Whether it's a program that you buy and you follow it blindly, a coach you work with, or the noise of social media. This week, it's all about you. Take the time to explore your values and your why. And then I'd like you to share with me what you discover, what you uncover, or what you rediscover with me. Send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook. Remember, it's at Entrepreneurs in Flow, and I will respond back. I don't use AI bots. So if you get a response from me, know that it's me actually sitting at my phone or at my computer typing a response to you. So please send me that DM when you have uncovered your values and your why. And I'll see you back here next week for another episode of the Entrepreneur Mindset Podcast, where we are focusing on mentoring, community, and implementation. It's all about taking action so that we can remove the overwhelm of building a successful and profitable business and adding in a little dose of momentum. Until next time, have a healthy, safe, and happy week.